Hey, what's up? It's your boy Rawk. Summer is here, which means that my body is craving one thing and one thing only. Fruit! The sun does nothing for me. Now, given that my last fruit-based business proposal wasn't as successful as I wanted it to be, I thought it might have been a good idea to satisfy my cravings with a new fruity experiment. What I'm dreaming up is a fruit-based soup, because we all know that the worst part about soup is the soup. So if we grab a banana, a couple of apples, and some grapes, and blend those puppies together, then we should be golden. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, isn't that just a smoothie? Shut up, they're different things. Add a secret ingredient and throw them in the microwave. We're only 2 short minutes away from pure, unfiltered deliciousness. Ugh! It doesn't work. I knew the vinegar was a risky move. Pikmin 1 and 2 were some of the greatest games the GameCube had to offer. Commercially, sure, they weren't really giving Mario a run for his money, but that core gameplay was so incredibly engaging. Surely there was potential for another sequel. Well, there was. You just had to wait 9 years. That must have been one bitch of a pregnancy. Pikmin 3, released on the Nintendo Wii U on July 13th, 2013, and was the triumphant return of everybody's favourite plant-based real-time strategy series. See, ever since the release of Pikmin 2 in 2004, this series has been a little something I like to call infertile. It went the entirety of the Wii generation without so much as a mention of a new game. Now, to be fair, the original 2 games were re-released on the Wii under the new Play Control line, but so was the original Chibi Robo, and even he managed to get new games before Pikmin did. That's how you know a series is f***ed. In the background, development of a new Pikmin game was pretty funky, starting as early as 2007 for the Nintendo Wii. The project was confirmed by Shigeru Miyamoto at a developers roundtable in 2008, and basically all that was confirmed about the new game was that there was a new game. 3 years, 1 3DS, and an unhealthy amount of radio silence later, Miyamoto revealed that, yeah, this wasn't gonna be a Wii game anymore. Considering it had been 3 years and this game still wasn't done, it only made sense for it to switch platforms. Games released near the end of a console's life never tend to sell too well anyway, so Nintendo really did this game a favour by not releasing it on the dying Wii, and instead releasing it on the Wii U. Oh, we really dodged a bullet there. Upon release, Pikmin 3 was decently well received. As is standard for these games, it didn't sell very well, but considering it was a new entry in a very niche series that had been dormant for almost a decade, releasing on a console that was dead before its launch day, this game was f***ed from the get-go! And for a long time, that was all there was to say about this game's development and build-up to release. Until Nintendo instilled fear in our hearts. On August 5th, 2020, out of absolutely nowhere, Nintendo dropped a trailer on their social medias for Pikmin 3 Deluxe. Wii U ports were nothing new at this point, what with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, hell, the Switch's headline title, technically speaking, was a Wii U port, being Breath of the Wild. The reveal trailer showed off some of the improvements that this deluxe version of Pikmin 3 had to offer, the most notable of which being nothing. Silly me. All of the changes to this version were detailed on Nintendo's website, because of course this information couldn't be in the reveal trailer, that would be f***ing insanity. With Pikmin 3 Deluxe, every mainline game in the series had received a port, but Pikmin 1 and 2 on Wii didn't really do much to enhance the games outside of giving them Wii remote controls and a 16:9 aspect ratio. For the most part, the Wii and GameCube versions were pretty interchangeable. But with Pikmin 3 and Deluxe, that simply isn't the case. Both versions of this game are very unique in terms of content and control options, so much so that both of these versions are able to stand on their own 2 feet. Some people swear by the Wii remote controls that the Wii U version offers, and after learning to love Pikmin 1 and 2 on the Wii, I totally get that. Some people swear by the Switch version for its portable play. Finally being able to play a proper Pikmin game on the go feels about as good as you'd want it to, so I get this too. And then some people swear by using the Wii U gamepad because my request to strip them of their freedom of speech is still pending. So the question is,
Which version am I playing through?
Well, let's look at the pros and cons of each version to come to a conclusion on that. So, technically speaking, the Switch version has more control options. You can play in handheld mode, which is basically the exact same thing as using a Wii U gamepad. You can use a Pro controller, which gives you something closer to the GameCube versions of 1 and 2. Or you can use 2 Joy-Cons and simulate the Wii Remote and Nunchuck. Every way of controlling the Switch version offers motion controls to enhance aiming. But the thing about this is, the motion controls need to be recalibrated on the Switch. A lot! Because of how much they drift. Who would have thought?
The Switch's controllers must be great at Mario Kart considering how much they drift. It says laugh, you pieces of shit!
So the Wii U version probably has better controls, but the Switch version has a lot more quality of life features and new content. The Wii U version runs at 719p, whereas the Switch version runs at 720p. That's a game changer right there. So it's a tough call, but I have to go with the Switch version.
Who knew picking your favourite child would be so difficult?
Pikmin 3 Deluxe opens up with a PSA about the planet of Qumu and how unbelievably fucked it is. These hungry hippos have managed to exhaust their entire planet's food supplies, and after searching all nearby planets, they're only able to find one that might have enough food to save the Qumu from a very depressing extinction. The planet in question is PNF 404, and after its discovery, 3 explorers are sent to salvage as many resources as possible. Who the hell are you? Yeah, Olimar hails from the planet Hoggetate, which means that we're introduced to 3 brand new characters for this adventure. And I gotta say, they're all remarkably good at f***ing everything up.
It's as if Olimar never left.
Our 3 captains are all flung to completely different areas of the planet, and given the circumstances, name me a better time to finally meet them than now. Go ahead, name one. I'll wait, I've got nothing better to do. The first captain we're introduced to is Charlie, who awakens in a snowy tundra. Charlie is the actual captain of the ship, as opposed to these other 2 captains we get to play as. That's not needlessly confusing at all. While trying to find our ship and crew, we stumble into a group of local thugs who are known only as the Summer Squash Scoundrels.
This neighborhood is going to shit.
It wouldn't be a Pikmin game without Pikmin. Just like Mario Kart wouldn't be Mario Kart without the Honey Queen. And the yellow Pikmin are the first ones we encounter this time around, which is how you can tell it's a sequel. We head into a cave with our team of bananas and then Charlie mysteriously dies. Our next captain is Alf. He lands in a jungle and meets up with the red Pikmin. That's a weird shade of yellow. On our adventures through the jungle, we find Nintendo's first true experience in begging us to peer review. How am I supposed to pronounce this, Nintendo? The upper and lowercase p's make it seem like it should be pronounced as cop pad, but the species are known as the copites. So, surely it would make more sense if it was pronounced as copad. I'll go with Copard. We pick up the Copard and there's an incoming signal from our 3rd and final playable character. But who gives a shit? It has a camera! Hell yes! I've never been this close to a vegetable before.
Because if I can't handle soup, I sure as hell can't handle salad.
So we follow the signal to Brittany, somebody who I refuse to give my attention to right now because on our way over there we discover the Rawk Pikmin. Do Nintendo know what yellow is? Introducing the first new Pikmin type in this game. Rawk Pikmin are able to smash glass, which can be found all over the place for no good reason. My favorite things about nature, in order, are sunsets, flowers, and glass barricades. They are the reason I never go outside. These adorable little fucks are also incapable of being crushed due to their density. I wish I could relate. After we reunite with Brittany, we spend a lot of time with just the 2 captains, naturally harkening back to Pikmin 2. And after the crash landing that these goons experienced, all of their resources were either lost or destroyed, leaving them with no food rations and no cosmic drive key, which would allow them to actually leave the planet. Because of this, we not only have to try and save Captain Charlie, but we also have to scavenge for food, which honestly is a really unique twist on the formula. Pikmin has always been about managing resources in a time limit. Pikmin 1 gave you a mere 30 days to gather as many ship parts as possible. Pikmin 2 didn't really have a time limitation, especially with 97% of the game being spent in caves, the other 3% being menus. But here, there is no strict time limit, but 1 food ration is used at the end of every day, meaning that if you don't have enough food, you're donezo. This really incentivizes you to collect all of the fruit you possibly can, even if in most cases, doing so is secondary secondary to your primary objective. And I think that's a really fun way to add both pressure and motivation to this game. So we make our way through the Garden of Hope some more, fight this glass lizard, which some dead sculptor would be pissed about.
I'm not scared of carving picks, so come at me!
And then we get a signal from another fucking country telling us where Captain Charlie might be. So we head over to the snowy tundra he awoke in, and on our descent... Jesus Christ, guys, this is getting ridiculous. Why haven't your licenses been revoked? So we're separated once again, and each captain has to work to build their own half of a bridge that will allow them to reunite. And I think this is where Pikmin 3's multitasking is truly at its best. Having a mutual goal to work towards while coordinating captains on opposite sides of the map, with very limited interaction between them, is a phenomenal showcase of the strengths this series has when it comes to strategy. New to Pikmin 3, we have the Go Here function, which allows you to move one captain to a particular spot on the map while you control the other, which means that even when a captain isn't actively engaged in a task, they can still be helping you work towards a goal. This feature is absolutely genius, and it makes me look back at Pikmin 2 with disgust. This feature means that you can seamlessly accomplish tasks while the captains are worlds apart, and still do so with a high level of efficiency. And having this bridge be the sole thing you have to worry about during this section allows that to be pushed to its absolute limit in the best way possible. Anyway, we head into a cave, kill this lumpy fuck, and free Captain Charlie, who is... immediately horny.
Look at his face. Does this surprise you?
Now that our three musketeers have reunited, we have our two goals to work towards. We have to find the cosmic drive key and gather as much fruit as possible, which means that we can finally get into the gameplay proper, and holy fuck, this game is pretty. I hope you like geysers, because I'm about to gush. This game is so fucking beautiful! Look at it, man! At all times, you are constantly surrounded by this unadulterated bliss, and it's absolutely mesmerizing. Sure, when you get up close and personal with the individual assets, they aren't gonna blow you away, especially considering a lot of them are left over from this game's time as a Wii game. But the lighting, good fucking Christ, the lighting in this game is absolutely stunning. And the fruit, holy shit. Having real-world objects rendered in Pikmin 2 was charming enough, but look at the sheer amount of detail put into every single piece of fruit. They have hyper-realistic texturing on grapes! They didn't need to do this, and yet they did. And it makes it so that at the end of every single day, I stop and take a minute to marvel at how grotesquely good the fruit looks. And that's all topped off by this animation that the Wii U just refuses to be okay with. They always say you shouldn't give juice to your game consoles, so all the Wii U is doing is returning the favor.
Like the hero it truly is.
All of this takes Pikmin 3 to a breathtaking new level of presentation, and when combined with the refined gameplay and serene score, makes this game feel like nothing but a treat to play. So how does it play?
Have you ever heard of video games?
The biggest difference between Pikmin 3 and its predecessors is the number of captains, which is directly proportional to the number in the title after the word Pikmin. Can't wait for Pikmin 11.
What do you expect from me?
Remember that multitasking and strategy refinement I was talking about? Yeah, imagine that with 3 playable characters. It's orgasmic! Each area here is littered with fruit, so being able to divide your squad of Pikmin between 3 captains who can each tackle tasks independently and simultaneously makes collecting a sufficient number of fruit child's play, providing you get good enough at appropriately dividing your team. I know I've already talked about it, but my god, I cannot understate the importance of the Go Here function. It is legitimately a game changer. I don't think I could have even been half as efficient as I was in this game without it. It's the reason I got 100 blue Pikmin in day 1, and I'm better than you for it, bitch!
You might consider that a weird thing to brag about. I consider it a threat to society.
Yeah, there are 2 more Pikmin types in this game. The blue Pikmin from the first 2 games, and the flying pink Pikmin. My 2 favorite shades of yellow. This means that at any given time, you have 5 different Pikmin types at your disposal, all of which having different strengths and weaknesses. And there are very few instances where only one Pikmin can handle a certain task. There's a body of water between you and a piece of fruit. Yeah, we've all been there. And while you could use blue Pikmin because they're immune to water, you could also use the pink Pikmin because they can fly over the water. Got somewhere high you need to get to? I understand, we're all human at the end of the day. And our primal urge is to use the yellow Pikmin who can be thrown higher. It's in the Bible. But if we choose to disregard religion, we could use the pink Pikmin as they're able to fly to damn near any height they want, within reason.
Disregarding religion is a-okay, but flying over a tree is where you draw the line of reason?
So, we have all of these tools at our disposal to achieve any goal we desire, and the game gently nudges us in the direction of finding the cosmic drive key. And thanks to these data files that are scattered all over the place, it becomes increasingly obvious that Captain Olimar has found it for us. And we just need to find him. Our signals indicate that he's in the belly of this beast. We defeated and yes! We did it! Captain Olimar is finally here! Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch! That was the most painful series of fuck yous I've ever experienced. Not only did Olimar turn out to be Louis, but he also stole all of our food supplies.
That's annoying, but I'm sure we're more than capable of dealing with—
And he stole the ship's rubber ducky.
Oh, that sadistic son of a bitch!
This greedy piece of shit leaves us with, once again, no food rations and no rubber ducky, which means no happiness. He is fucking ruthless. So we track him down, again, and he gives us a signal that actually belongs to Captain Olimar. And to think all it took was repeated kidnapping and theft. Captain Olimar is being held captive in the Forbidden Oak, which is our final area of the game. Now keep in mind, once you finish this area, the game is over. So if you want to get all of the fruit like I did, you might want to hold off on this for a little bit. Is collecting all of the fruit worth it? Are you fucking stupid? All you get is an in-game achievement. So of course it's worth it! Inside of the Forbidden Oak, we find this monstrous blob. And this opens the door for the most unique sequence in the entire series. This thing is invincible, and is a Pikmin killing machine. So instead of fighting it, you just have to run. This thing will constantly chase you down, and you have to forge a path through the inside of the tree in order to escape it. Having this thing chasing you ready to chow down on your entire squad in the blink of an eye adds an immense amount of pressure to the otherwise menial tasks you have to do to get out of here. At face value, none of this stuff is anything new. We've done it all before numerous times throughout the game, and yet, the anxiety that comes from knowing this thing is right behind you at all times adds a huge layer of intensity that is absolutely exhilarating. This part of the game stressed me the out, but it was the good kind of stress that has you at the edge of your seat with excitement. That's right, Pikmin, the game about commanding carrots, made me feel more than most games do. Why, yes, I have issues. Finally escaping the tree leads to a Pikmin massacre that somehow equates to this thing being defeated and Captain Olimar being saved.
It's a group of peas fighting a giant blob. You try and do a better job of explaining what just happened.
And so, with Olimar finally rescued, and the Cosmic Drive Key finally secured, that wraps up Pikmin 3. An absolutely wonderful experience from start to finish. I honestly didn't think it was possible for the Pikmin formula to get much better than it was in 1 or 2. Obviously, it had potential for expansion, and a few issues to work out, but I never expected the core enjoyability of the formula to ever increase. And yet despite this, Pikmin 3 blows the other games out of the water in every sense imaginable. It improves and refines and perfects everything that those other games attempted, and feels like the definitive way to make a Pikmin game. Sure, the game is a little on the easy side compared to the others, but how much do you want to bet that's only because there's less bullshit in this one? This game trims the fat of the others and offers so many more ways to truly make this game your bitch. And as such, it's much more difficult to find this game difficult. But that doesn't make it worse. If anything, it just respects the player more. Pikmin 3 is legitimately one of the greatest games I've ever ever played. I'm so glad Nintendo brought this game over to the Switch, as honestly, without this port, I probably wouldn't be nearly as invested in this series as I am, and I may have even given the Wii U version a miss for another few years. Pikmin 3 makes me feel things that very few other games have made me feel. The beauty and serenity of the world leave me awestruck and in a state of pure zen while I'm playing, which contrasts perfectly against the more intense sequences and the stress that comes with trying to perfectly manage 3 captains and a squad of 100 Pikmin spanning 5 different types. These two feelings the game elicits are in a perfect balance for me, and as such, this game makes me feel nothing but pure joy while I'm playing it. I adore this game so very much, and if this was truly to be the last ever Pikmin game, I'd almost be okay with that. If the mainline series were to end on such a high note, that almost feels like a perfectly bittersweet end to this series.
And that was Pikmin 3. Deluxe! And I know what you're thinking. Rawk, what makes this version so deluxe to begin with? 5 extra minutes of content!
Yeah, as much as I appreciate having Pikmin 3 on the Switch, Nintendo needs to invest in a dictionary because this is the definition of underwhelming. The added quality of life improvements are really nice to have, but the actual bonus content is incredibly lacking. The marketing for this game touted a brand new side story that stars Olimar and Louie before the events of the main game, which sounded awesome! But in execution, it's just a couple of time-limited missions, and a little sprinkling of cutscenes. Enjoyable? Yes, absolutely. Worthy of being a full-price game? Still yes. Just doesn't really feel like Deluxe is a very fitting title. But at least they added multiplayer. Finally, me and the boys can play the vegetable game. It's about damn time.
Now that I've beaten all of the mainline Pikmin games, it's finally time for me to decide, once and for all, which of these is my favorite Pikmin 3. It's Pikmin 3. I adore Pikmin 1 and 2 and will continue to replay them for years to come. But Pikmin 3 just has them beat, I'm sorry. It's almost difficult to put into words just how much this game means to me. So I think the best way to get all of my feelings off of my chest is to discuss it at church. The congregation did not agree with me.
This seems like a fairly uncommon opinion. Pikmin 1 is the one that started it all, and the stricter time limit offers a lot of players a more difficult and compelling experience. Pikmin 2 adds and changes so much and is really ambitious, but because of that, it's either the most loved or the most hated game in the series to most, which then just leaves Pikmin 3 as the one with the base level of quality. It's not outrageously difficult, it's not super strict, and because of that, it doesn't really impact a lot of people as much as the other games, in a good way or a bad way. With how easy this game is, some people just breeze through it and forget about it. But if you take the time to allow yourself to be truly immersed in its world and the nuanced refinements to the gameplay, you'll almost definitely find it to be the most consistently enjoyable Pikmin experience. But nobody did that and would rather bitch about Pikmin 2!
But do I care what other people think? No, because I bought each of these games twice anyway. And besides, I finally perfected my soup recipe. Okay. I think I know what went wrong. It was the secret ingredient again. I'm not even gonna say it's bad, I just wouldn't put it in soup.